Let's see if she'll eat. She will. You see, very gentle species. Hello everybody and welcome to this week's video. This week's video is different than what I usually film and what I usually do, but it's something that I wanted to talk about and have a discussion with my subscribers, with everybody who watches this video basically. And it is about a controversial opinion that I have and I've had for 5 years since I own this species. And my controversial opinion is, and I stand by it, that Grammostola pulchra is a very overrated spider. Now let's first talk about why I think it is, and then I'll tell you my experience with them, and then I'll show you better versions of the spider basically, and then I'll also mention that yes, I do think that the spider is fine, but people hype it up way too much, and there are some species in the genome itself which are way better for beginners and for everything else. So let's start. This is the spider, Grammostola pulchra. This is the male that I have. Female will look into her a little bit later, but yeah, this is her this is him basically. His name is Oreo. I've had him for 5 years. Mr. Editor will insert some pictures of his Tarantula logins, and it will tell you that he molted 3 times. Why did he only molted 3 times? Basically, from the beginning in 2021 when I got him, he was bought as a pair for a Grammostola pulchra female. That means that I wanted to basically speed up the process of growing out the female and slow the process of growing the male, which means I didn't starve him to death, but I fed him less frequently than I fed the female, which in 5-year progress made no difference because he is slightly smaller than the female, but I don't think they'll ever catch up. I don't even know they're from the same sex, so I don't think this is gonna work out anyway, but that's just the reason why I was kind of saving him and feeding him less. This is a common practice in tarantula keeping when you want to, like a pair of tarantula that you have and want to basically speed up the process. If the male is bigger than the female, you sped up by feeding the female, keep her warmer, and then slow down the male's metabolism and keep him like grow rate slower. So under this light he is kind of brownish, but he is fine. What you do, don't touch him first, as I mentioned before. I don't particularly like to touch spiders, but I think he'll be fine. Oh, his hair flickering anyway, so I won't be picking him up anyway. But yeah, he's the male I had for a while. And let's start with why I think the species is overrated. It's a black spider. This under this light, which is yellowish, I must say it looks kind of brownish blackish, but it is a black tarantula when you look at from not a yellow perspective light, and it looks like a black pulchra. Anyway, yeah, he is a black spider. The female is also a black spider. He is kind of friendly. After Ariel, the Calcodes male, matured, he was the spider I bought to the fair and let people handle him and everything. So he's friendly and nice and everything, but you know, you can never be too careful with this type of animals, you know. Okay, he's not interested today, so I'm gonna stop bothering him, but just for the sake of the video, yeah, there he is. You see, he flickered the hairs on his abdomen as well, so it is not gonna be handled today. But yeah, he is the most handleable one I have. What I had Grammostolas Some other ones were kind of handleable, maybe the Pulchra male, but yeah, he is the handleable one. People say, oh, it's a beginner friendly species. I don't know if you noticed, but he flickered hairs anyway, even though he's a beginner friendly recommended tarantula, which I don't think he is. Or the Pulchra species is in general. I don't think they are beginner friendly, and the reason is that they grow so slow, so unbelievably slow. I'll show you the pictures of the female molts. Mr. Editor will put it in. I think she molted 5 times in 5 years, which is horrible because she keeps eating every 2 weeks, and then she molts, and then she goes pre-molt, and then she molts, and 2 weeks, and then like after 2 weeks I feed her again. Like I power feed her every 2 weeks or every week, like a lot, and she doesn't grow faster. She is bigger than the male, but she doesn't grow that much faster. 5 times in 5 years is a really bad average for molting tarantulas, which are growing. And they were like, how big they were? Like 6 centimeters, and now she's like 10-ish. The male was also 5 centimeters, and now he's like 8 centimeters. So in like 5 years, that's a horrific speed, speed of growing. It's just horrible, in my opinion, for any species. If you are like interested in species that grows that slow, just go for a brachypelma. They are much nicer. They don't flicker much. They don't flicker the hairs that much. Or go for a Tliltocatl, Albopilossus. Great spider. You saw the curly one, the Tliltocatl Nicaragua form. My editor will insert a picture here. Tliltocatl albopilosum Nicaragua form. There it is. Much better. It's friendlier. It's better for beginners because it doesn't require that much moisture as these spiders do. Oh, I need to refill his water dish. And yeah, they are much easier to keep. It's just that simple. Like if you want to have a beginner species that is good looking, doesn't require that much care, just go for a brachypelma. Why do people just fall in love with the black colorations and just say, oh, it's the biggest thing ever? I do like the blacked out versions of cars and everything, but I didn't own a car who had a black roofing. It was white overall, but had a black roofing, black roof. And in the summer it was painfully obvious that the black roof was the problem, because it was much hotter than it would usually be. It was if it was just a white car. So yeah, it is nice to look at, but in practicality I don't see like why. Also, it just doesn't seem practical. So why is this species so popular? I don't get it. Like price ranges, it's like 22 euros right now. If I look at Spiderworld or some Polish stores, it's 22 euros for a L1 or a L2 sling, which is very expensive. I talked about Apronopelma calcodes before. It's about the same price, and it grows in about the same growth rate. So why don't have a calcodes which is friendlier for beginners and doesn't flicker that much hair, and it is a deserty animal which doesn't need that much moisture. It's easier to keep. Another point. So it's just like, I get that people like blacked out stuff and blacked out tarantulas, but it's just overrated. Now I'll stop showing you the male, which is not interested. As I said, he is handleable, but not today. He decided that he's not going to be handleable, and that's it. And his name is Oreo, by the way, if you're wondering. My niece named him. He's been with the family, as I mentioned, for 5 years. But yeah, that's it for Oreo. Now let's move on to the female. Okay, so here we have the female. You can see much more blacker in the coloration. Let's see if she'll eat. she will. You see, very gentle species on the surface, but in reality it's just a pain in the ass. That's her like temporary enclosure. When she will get bigger in like 10 more years, she'll get a bigger enclosure, but for now that's fine. Yeah, this is her. I showed you the data from her molting and that stuff before, but this is her. It is a nice looking spider, I must admit, but for the price in the market, which was totally, I think, driven by people who just want a black spider, and for the reason I mentioned before, I think it's a very overrated spider. You see, she has a Buddha inside to keep her calm, because she is usually very pissy when I try to feed her or try to poke her in any way. So I see her temperament, she's just horrible. But now she's trying to act nice for the video. So yeah, it's just, I don't know. What else is there to say? Like, alternatives to her are a Grammostola pulchra, a Grammostola icheringi, Grammostola porteri, Grammostola rosea, and a Phonopema crocodus, and maybe Tlilitocatl species that are nicer to have and they're just cool. I think they're just better alternatives than her. And the species itself, it is worth having in your collection, because maybe when it's like actually like 18 centimeters big as an adult, it is a cool looking spider. But for now, I don't rate it at all. I think it's a very overpriced spider, and again, I think there's better spiders on the market that is just, that are better looking, that are cheaper, that are nicer for beginners. I need to specify that again. A spider is marketable as beginner friendly and handleable, which is not, because as you saw, even Oreo, who usually was easy to handle, was not handleable today. And now I'll show you, I'll just show you the more like affordable species that you can get, and then I'll just conclude this video, because yeah, I think people need to think with their head that some spiders are good to have in the collection but are not worth the hype, and that was always from the beginning this species for me. I think it's way overrated, and I think people should not hype it up as much as it is, and just look into alternatives. Again, gorgeous spider, very nice looking spider, but the growth rate that this spider has, again, fed every other week or every week with mealworms, with superworms, with dubia roaches, and it molted 5 times in 5 years. Not worth the effort, in my opinion. As a main spider, and I mean, would you call it as a main protagonist of Grammostola genome? I think you would, but it's not worth it, as I mentioned. Now let's look into alternatives. There is one alternative, Grammostola pulchra, Chaco goldeni. One of my favorites Grammostola species. It's because it looks stunning. In my opinion, this is a small male, by the way. It is a small male which I'm selling for today. I'm sending him off. That's why he's in this box. The seller is gonna pick it up, and that's it for him. But look at him. He is about 6 centimeters in leg span. I don't know what that is in inches. 2.5, something like that. And he's gorgeous. The gold coloration with the blackish brown coloration on the legs and the abdomen, like the Grammostola circle, the Grammostola square on the abdomen as well. Just a gorgeous spider. And I don't think there's anything wrong with Pulchra again, but a spider worth its name, Pulchra, and worth the price. I think the slinks of this species go for about €7 on the market, and I think that's fair. And I think that is an alternative to Pulchra, which is much cheaper, than Pulchra, and it's just better. It grows to pretty much the same size, 18-20 centimeters. It's more timid. Like, I have a female and I had a male before, and this is another male, and they're much more timid than the Pulchras are. They grow faster, in my opinion, as well. A little bit, but not too much of a difference. But yeah, again, the price for a beginner tarantula keepers, not a lot can afford like a spider who is gonna grow to like 18 centimeters and grow for like 10 years to that size, if it's that fast. It depends on the environment, but get a spider that is much cheaper, much more affordable, and you can get 3 of them for the same price as one Pulchra. That's my opinion. I think it's worth to keep in mind that the spider is just better. Look, it's cute, it's gorgeous. The black golden coloration on the legs, spotless in my opinion. I'll try to show you the big ones, but they're on the top shelf and I can't easily reach it, so I'll try my best. Okay, sorry for the bad angles, but there is the Grammostola Pulchra, adult female, looking great. She's not fully adult, but she's around 16-17 centimeters. Gorgeous spider, as I showed you, and again, much more affordable. Really good to look into if you're a beginner keeper and want to keep spiders. Nice spider. Okay, I can't show you the Iheringi, but she's there. Difference between Grammostola grossa and Iheringi is that Iheringi has dark blue purplish legs and red abdomen, and in my opinion, a perfect spider. I think it is one of my favorite Grammostola species, and overall my favorite species, like top 10 at least. It's just gorgeous, fast growing, big when it gets adult, just gorgeous. I couldn't show you the Porteri female because she's way in the back of the enclosure, but the Rosea female I can show you. Very nice, very gorgeous looking spider again. It is expensive, but it is an alternative if you really want to have a Grammostola species. And of course, we can't pass up the opportunity to look at Brachypelma hamori, the tarantula that made everything in the hobby more popular. It was in some films that were really popular and people saw it in the films, and then many more years later the species is stable in the hobby, very cheap. Females are affordable. I think in under €100 you can get a female adult size, but I do recommend getting, if you're a beginner, getting a species or a female that is about 10 centimeters in size. That means it will still live for 15 years rather than 20, but it is a stable and it's a healthy animal then, so maybe choose that as well. A lot of options, like we can go here and look at Classy. A little bit more expensive Brachypelma, but again, just gorgeous. That's what I'm saying. People, you have a lot of choices, and I don't want to sway your opinion, but there are, in my opinion, a lot nicer species than Grammostola pulchra is. So, to conclude this video, I do think a Grammostola pulchra is an overrated species for what it is. It is just a black big spider that grows slowly and has attitude problems. And in my opinion, there are spiders who have less attitude problems, and most important thing about that is that they are cheaper. That's the only thing I have problem with this species. Basically, it's much more expensive than it should be. I think some Brachypelma species, like I mentioned, Hamori, Slink, you can get for €2, 2-3 euros, maybe 4, and it's like nice species as a beginner. Yes, this species is very nice, and you can get it, and it is a wonderful spider and everything, and it is a stable in the hobby now. But again, my opinion, unpopular as it may be, but there are a lot nicer species in the hobby for a cheaper price. That's the only thing I wanted to say in this video. Basically, it is a nice spider, again, cheaper in the hobby. So this is gonna be a conclusion of the video. I do have some topics like this prepared, but first of all I want to say Happy New Year, Happy Merry Christmas. I know it's kind of late to say that, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching me in 2025. Has been a blast, again, creating videos with my friends and just coming up with new ideas which I think are fresh, and they're not gonna change the hobby and Tarantula YouTube world forever, but I do think that I am filming videos like this one, which are my ideas, and I don't know how to say this, but I'm really enjoying filming them on my own terms and on my own merit, and just saying and like sharing my Tarantula opinions with the people around the world and on YouTube is my thing right now, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm not a Tarantula expert. I am just in the hobby for, it's gonna be 7 years now, 7-ish, about that, like something like that, and it's just like I'm just enjoying the hobby, going for a ride. So much has happened in like 5 years. I joined BOX and everything, and it's been amazing. So I'm just along for the ride with my like 200-ish tarantulas, and just enjoying it, every single part. So thank you again so much for watching. In 2025 to 2026 is gonna be even better, hopefully, and I will see you guys in the next video again. Bye bye.